Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 23rd of September. My name is Phillip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, what an enormous week in Melbourne. There's so much happening. Clearance rates are sky high. We'll get to that in a moment. But think about the week. Grand Final week.
Yep.
The new iPhone was released last week.
That's big news.
That's big news. And we handed over an enormous cheque to the Motor Neurone Disease Foundation.
Well, let's talk about that, Phillip, because that was obviously it's always good to give. We did give a bit
good to
more than what we planned to give, thanks to your big mouth, because Phillip did say that we were going to have a cap of 10,000 likes. He meant $10,000, but it was 10,000 likes, and lo and behold, we got 4,500 likes thereabouts. So we did. So here's an image of us, Phillip, handing over the cheque to the Motor Neurone Disease group or foundation, and what a great cause, Phillip.
Well, what a great cause, Gary.
And of course it all started with me putting this bucket of water over your head. There we go. That was fantastic. Love doing that. That was gave me great pleasure.
And that's one of my 38 suits, Gary, that is now at the dry cleaner for a reconstruction after being soaked in water. And I'd ask all the viewers if they're interested in watching that video from start to finish or watching our Ice Bucket Challenge from start to finish. If you like our site, if you just like on Facebook Gary Peer, the Gary Peer Facebook page, you'll have access to all of that and more groundbreaking news as we release it through Facebook. But
we're not going to be doing any more donations because we're done. Having said that, it is a great cause, and it is their biggest donation to date that they've had, Phillip, apparently in Australia. So it's good to be.
We can be pretty proud of that.
We can. It's good to be givers.
Even though we had in the budget, we thought we'd give about $500 or $1,000 away. 22 plus is a more than was in the 2014 budget.
But you know what they say, Phil? You give, you get it back.
Yep.
And what a fantastic week. We got it back, Phil, because our clearance rate on the weekend was a massive 85%. Put those towers up against the industry average of 73%. Well done to the industry. Still a very good week. We had some whopper auctions, and we did talk last week about our auctions. We didn't say that we had 20 because a number of those sold before auction, Phillip, but we have got them all accounted for, and of course they are part of the statistic, aren't they?
And I've got to tell you, Gary, so the viewers understand, 20 auctions in a weekend is a big is a big weekend for any agency, and we actually sold 17 out of the 20. So those viewers that didn't do the 85% conversion, 17 out of 20, that is an enormous weekend. So we were busy.
Let's review some of those sales, Phillip, because there's lots of them. We won't go through everyone in detail, but
let's just go through a few, Gary. It's been going a bit long, this GPTV lately.
Well, that's because you're rambling as you are now. We did sell a block of flats, Phillip, on Thursday in Alma Road. A block of 10 apartments. The reserve was $4 million, Phillip. We got substantially more than that.
We did, substantially
so that was
more.
very good. I think the vendor would like it undisclosed. So it was a big crowd. Congratulations to the vendors and congratulations to the buyers alike. Phil, I started off on Saturday morning in West Melbourne, in Anderson Street, West Melbourne. Fantastic property here, and there's a really interesting pocket just near the Dynon Road Bridge. We sold that. There was a very small crowd, but very lively, Phil. There was only about 30 people there, but I've got to tell you, there was, I think, 5 bidders, a strong auction result, and we sold that for $608,000.
And a viewer note there,
well above our reserve.
West Melbourne is not necessarily our target area, but we do sell now all over Melbourne. In fact, if you think about it, last weekend we had 20 auctions, but I think we were in 10 or 12 suburbs.
We were all over the place.
So viewers, it doesn't matter where the property is, we're happy to go there, and we can bring our expertise to anywhere in Melbourne.
So Phil, that was my first auction. I think your first auction was in Sycamore Street in Caulfield South, number 19.
It was, Gary, and that went really well. That was a really good town residence. We sold that under the hammer for $1,240,000. Delightful vendor on the phone to his father in Shanghai. So you've got to love technology, which kind of brings me in, and I'm going to interrupt our property flow to just talk about technology, because the iPhone was released during the week, and this was the old iPhone 5 that we both had.
Did a good job.
You've replaced it with the iPhone 6, so the viewers can see that it's significantly bigger. But having said that, so the viewers, so that's the old iPhone. That's the one that you got.
I got a big one.
But you did get a big one. But it's been trumped by the one that I got.
That's a book. That's not an iPhone.
Which is this iPhone here. I've got to tell you, I'm not sure.
It's a weapon.
I'm not sure whether I love it or I hate it. Yes, it's a mixture of the two, but certainly if you want a mother of a phone,
Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Big Shot with a big phone
is absolutely everything. So technology does play a role.
It's fast, isn't it? It's faster.
It is. Technology plays a role because the vendors there were FaceTiming each other. So it's amazing how the whole world has changed.
Well, we have the same.
We've got vendor in Sycamore Street, father in Shanghai, auctioneer downstairs. There's a whole lot of FaceTime going on, which was also what you were doing in Alma Road.
In Alma Road, I had the vendor in the UK. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. Lo and behold, we were showing her all of the action. She could see everything that was happening and felt very close to it all.
And it reminds me of our first couple of years in real estate, Gary, where we really didn't have this technology, and we used to hold auctions. And I remember if we had a vendor overseas, at the start of the auction, we'd send a courier pigeon.
Oh, that's right.
And we'd have to get a courier
all
pigeon
that waiting. It was
to London and back.
Message in a bottle sometimes. We sold it. Yeah.
Auctions used to take a long time back in the early 80s.
Jupiter Street, Phillip, talking about being off the planet. Jupiter Street, that was a terrific result. Tell us a bit about that auction.
Gary, that's a really nice house, and I reckon this is a really good example of how real estate has changed price-wise. Now, that's a property I can tell you would have been only 10 years ago, you would have bought something like that for $300,000, maybe $400,000 tops. That was a competitive auction that just flew from the word go, and we ended up selling it for $895,000. Really pretty little house, but very small parcel of land, small property, but immaculate. But, you know, $895,000. It's almost, South Caulfield soon will have an entry level of $1 million.
It's not going to be far away, Phillip. 105 Kooyong Road, the entry level for that was over $1 million. That was an auction that really did go off. Tell us a bit about it.
Really good case study, Gary, because we sold that for a really lovely family that moved to a property that we sold them in Field Street. So they moved out of a single-storey period home to a double-fronted period home in Field Street in South Caulfield. But interestingly, viewers, you'll notice that we sold this for $535,000 9 years ago.
Wow.
The vendors have virtually done nothing to it. Lived in a gorgeous little house. We had 5 bidders bidding there. And we sold that for $1,025,000. So almost doubled in value in 10 years.
Fantastic, Phillip. And some people say, well, you can't make money on a main road. Well, no problem there. How many bidders did you have at the auction?
5 bidders there.
There you go. So don't be too fearful of main roads. You get a bit of value there.
Interestingly, we held the auction inside, as I tend to do on main roads.
You do.
Because on a main road, you do get traffic noise at the front. But how much time do you spend at your letterbox? Not a lot.
And people don't live at the front of their homes, do they, Phillip?
So we held the auction in the back room. And I said, welcome to 105 Kooyong Road, North Caulfield. We're holding the auction in the back room, and let's just listen for the noise of Kooyong Road. So I stopped. There was silence in the room. And you could not hear a thing. So the reason I'm saying that, viewers, is that if you discount a main road property, and just say, I'm not going to go and buy on a main road, I'm not going to go and have a look at it. I just challenge any viewer, if you see a nice house on a main road, go and have a look at it, because often once you're through the door, you don't hear a thing. Speaking of main roads, sorry, I'm on a roll now. We had an expressions of interest closed last week at 179 Kooyong Road.
Kooyong Road.
Let's get that house up on screen, because this was a beautiful home, designed by Robert Schulberg, built by Stonehenge a bit over 10 years ago. Magnificent home, designed with a vision to Frank Lloyd Wright. And we had the expressions of interest closed. And viewers, there is now a sold sticker on the board. And if you'd like to talk about private sale, auction, or expressions of interest, I'm the man to do that. I loved selling that house.
And he wonders why the episodes go too long. Well done, Phillip. Great sale, great result. And well done, you're the Kooyong Road man, aren't you? You're the expert. You're loving it there. And we sold another house at Kooyong Road as well.
Well, you know, if you think about the team of Phillip Kingston, Darren Crongold, Sally Zellman, Daniel Fisher, Judy Zhu, Eliza Schillers, and Adam Pakel have all been responsible for selling those last 3 houses.
Well, Ben Rothschild sold the other one. Daniel Reeves is another one.
Well,
at Kooyong
absolutely.
Road.
That's 4 sales in Dandenong Road in the last 30 days. That's 4 sales in Kooyong Road in the last 30 days. I love Kooyong Road.
If there's anybody still watching, we'll continue. Belsize Avenue, Carnegie, Phil, that was a great result. Again, a GPTV viewer exclusive, because the price is undisclosed. You won't see it anywhere, but you'll hear about it here, Phil, because we sold it for $1,320,000, I believe.
The reason this is breaking news is because Belsize runs off the extension of Neeram Road just over Kooyong Road, just over Koonang Road. Right?
You've been, what's your on your breath there? I think you've been drinking. Go on.
So that is, good part of Carnegie. But to sell a townhouse, admittedly, it was a very good townhouse in excess of $1.2 million is a feat in itself. But now we've broken the $1.3 million barrier. That's a huge number.
And it just shows what's going on in Carnegie. What a great suburb. It has arrived.
People want to be walking distance, Gary. We say it all the time on GPTV. If you can walk to shops, trams,
Yep.
trains,
Yep.
schools. If you can buy in a busy,
Cafes.
bustling zone, people love to be able to walk places, and Belsize certainly summed up that location.
I enjoyed doing the auction. Northcote Avenue won at 37 Northcote Avenue, Phillip. It was very competitive. We sold that for $657,000. Again, a figure that I don't believe is printed in the paper or anywhere, but
GPTV exclusive,
That's
Gary.
the benefit of people coming into this show, Phil, tuning in. You're going to get information you're just not going to get anywhere else.
Yep. Actually, speaking of GPTV and how far and wide it goes now, I had a call during the week from a real estate agent in Sydney, in the Erskineville, Newtown area, who watches it every week.
Oh, good.
And he
Cheerio.
rang to ask me for some advice. So a cheerio to the man whose name I've forgotten, but I think it was a Rain and Horn franchise. So if you are watching, a special hello, and you're welcome to ring us anytime for advice.
We've got a few viewers there in New South Wales, haven't we, Phil?
We do. Gary, my last sale for the weekend was on Sunday at 2:30, where we sold a property in Haywood Street.
Wasn't that a beautiful home?
Oh, absolutely
Fantastic.
gorgeous.
Well
And
done to the vendors.
A special shout out to the vendors who had prepared the house so magnificently. And an extra special shout out to the buyers who I know personally, and lovely people, and you have bought a lovely house.
Bought a great home. Prices undisclosed, our lips are sealed, but what a beautiful home. You can enjoy living there. A lot of people don't know where Haywood is. It's off Bond Street. It's near Balaclava Road, the section where the park is, of course, not far from Redan and Bamborough.
Where Balaclava Road hits Cambrook Road, in that little pocket there.
It's a good pocket, isn't it, Phil? And keeps getting better. It's a bit of a secret, but it's out now, isn't it?
It is.
Let's talk about where we are right now before we talk about this weekend's auctions, because it's Grand Final day. Who are you going for, by the way, the Grand Final?
Look, I do like Sydney, but I find it very hard because I'm parochial.
Just one way or the other.
I find it very hard as a parochial Melbourne person to barrack for an interstate team.
But they are the Swans, I suppose. Well, there's still that whole Swan thing.
The whole Sydney Swan thing,
the
South Melbourne Bloods.
all that stuff,
but I will be going for Hawthorn. Got a lot of good friends that barrack for Hawthorn, and I can't.
They're a great team, aren't they?
They are.
And you know, it would be good to see them win without Buddy.
But how will it be? How will it be if Sydney do win and Buddy kicks 6 goals and they win by a goal or two?
Yeah, he won't be any Buddy.
He will be escorted off the ground by security, I would imagine.
He will.
Not that he needs security, because I sat at the car wash in the Pean Highway in Elstonwick.
Yeah, it's good that you use your time productively.
Sometime last year, and there was this monster, this mountain of a bloke that was sitting next to me, and I looked at him and I thought, geez, you look like Buddy.
Yeah, no.
And it was Buddy.
I bumped into him in Chapel Street. Well, he's a massive unit, isn't he? Massive unit. We are right here in the heart of St Kilda, Phillip, looking out over there, which we're going to show people now on the screen what's going on, but we've got a most beautiful apartment. Here we are, right in the heart of it, in a little known street, Phillip, Blanche Street. Tell us a bit about this property.
Well, Gary, this is an unusual development. It was built, I think, about 10 years ago, and it's just in the most fantastic location, because you can walk everywhere. You can walk to our office, you can walk to the Newmarket Hotel, you can walk to Ackland Street, Fitzroy Street, you can walk to the beach. But that view, I think, is absolutely sensational. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, big entertaining areas, and very unusual, because we're the top floor apartment. It's got extra high ceiling heights, comes complete with this home theatre setup.
It's fantastic.
It's a pretty sexy place.
We're quoting kind of high fives into the 6s, low to mid 6s, but this is going to be popular, I would think. I reckon this is a great buy, great investment. What a place to live, Phillip. This one goes up on the 11th of October, Saturday week. I think it's 2:30 p.m. It's going up, Phillip, and we are looking forward to auctioning this, because this is a beauty.
Yep.
Let's talk about this weekend's auction, shall we?
Can we? Okay, let's do it. Gary, with the Grand Final this weekend, it is a quiet weekend, and just to put that in context, there are 1,000+ auctions last weekend.
Yep.
Grand Final weekend this weekend, it drops to 100 auctions, of which we have 5.
So 5% of the market.
We're controlling 5% of the market this week. So let's talk about what we have.
Phillip, we're starting on Sunday in Gardeners Road in Bentley East. You're having the auction honours of this beautiful town residence. Tell us a little bit about it.
Gary, it's as new. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, big entertaining areas, lock-up garage, parking for a second car in front. Great location there. I think that will go well.
While you're busy talking and getting the auction underway there, Phil, I'm going to be in Leopold Street with Elsa Schilling at 11:30. Tell us a little bit about this wonderful property. This is Unit 1 at 14, Leopold Street.
Gary, hard to get a good single-storey villa, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, lock-up garage in absolute mint condition throughout. That, to me, is a great buy, and I like Leopold Street.
I think it's going to be very popular, Philip, and one of our auctions of the week. While you and I are auctioning at 11:30, lo and behold, Jeremy Rosens is also auctioning. He's in Wanda Road in Caulfield North. I reckon this is a pretty unique property. Tell us a little bit about it, if you would.
It is, and I really love that address because that's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, double lock-up garage for 2 cars. That is, you know, these ones are built in the 70s and they're just built solidly. They've got good spaces to them. That is a really good property.
Phil, in Currawell Road in Caulfield, we're together with our conjunctional agents, Besser & Co. We're auctioning this property at 12:30. You've got the auction honours. What a great looking home this is.
I do, Gary, and it is a fabulous home. It's a home that's been beautifully and meticulously renovated. 4 or 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, plenty of car parking there. It's got the thing I love about it, it's got a range of period features, but it's also got that incredible kitchen meals family room at the back. Comes complete with a home theatre or a games room. That's a house, it's like a Big Mac, that one, Gary, because it's got the lot.
It's a recommended buy, Philip. Now, if I'm not mistaken, going back through our personal history, I happen to know that your father grew up in Denby Road, Armidale. Is that correct?
He did, Gary.
There you go. Isn't it funny what trivial things I remember?
Just so you know, he was born in Cootamundra in New South Wales.
Yep.
Then when his father died, the family moved.
Yes, said goodbye to Donald Bradman.
Yep. They moved back to Melbourne, so he grew up in Denby Road.
That's right.
Until he was 18, when he went off to the Dookie Agricultural College.
As you do.
And started his career as a farmer.
As you do.
And that's the Cootamundra story.
There it is, Phil. That's all we've got time for today. But let's talk about the apartment, because we're not going to talk about all the devious things that you got up to on the farm. Denby Road, Armidale is a good address, Philip. We're selling this apartment and it's going off at 12:30. Tell us a little bit about it.
Gary, you couldn't get a better position, and really you couldn't for the money get a better apartment. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. That to me is a great first home or a sensational investment, because getting tenants in a position like that is always easy. So good property, good address.
An affordable opportunity for somebody, Philip. Denby Road, be there. That's a wrap for this week's auctions, and I guess we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Certainly there's some exciting offerings this Sunday, but then after that there becomes a big rollout of listing, Philip, through the busy spring.
And we're going to be full bore right through, it looks like, Gary, until the 3rd weekend of December. So we're going to go late this year, we're going to go hard, and we're going to go late.
Some people think there's a lot of time still this year, Phil, but really if you're selling, there's not. You need to get your roller skates on and get moving, because the market is moving quickly. You've got to allow for some planning time.
Absolutely.
But you can still do it this year, and of course we'd be delighted to speak to you if you have any intentions of selling this year, because the market is running hot, isn't it?
It's running hot, and it's almost 2015. So, Gary,
busy
week. Who's your tip for the grand final?
Well, it's Sydney Swans.
You're against Sydney Swans?
I think so. I love Hawthorn.
By what?
Sydney Swans by 12 points. I think we should do 8 or 9 different takes, and then we should just put in whatever gets right next week and say, remember
so we
we
both
said that?
Like heroes,
Yeah, that's a good one.
So your Sydney Swans.
I reckon Sydney Swans by 9 points.
Sydney Swans by 9 points. I'm going with Hawthorn by 3 points.
Well, it's going to be a close grand final if we've got anything to do with it, but of course we don't, Phil, because we're just real estate agents. But we're going to continue to bring you all of the news of the area, the market, what's happening, and beautiful offerings like this apartment and others. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Phillip Kingston. Have a great week.
Bye.